It's just looking at...
Oh, they're on! Good. And we found the off switches, too.
Okay. Wow, this is gonna be fun.
This is all right.
Would you like to introduce this panel before it gets way more off the rails than it already is?
That is not even remotely possible.
Rails.
All right, here we go. Welcome to the spice of Twitch variety streaming. My name is DJ Blue PDX, and I'm of course joined by a unicorn and Firecrow, and a few other people. All right, so from hardcore gaming to content to a Bob Ross marathon, Twitch is expanding to encompass almost everything. Almost, but apparently not the actions of my unicorn. So, there's no doubt variety streaming is on the rise, but how do you start your own variety channel? Better yet, how do you make it successful? What happens when you try to transition from, like specialty focused variety broadcaster? Join HyperRPG's Zach Eubanks, Goobers515, Erica, oh God, I'm gonna destroy your name, Ishii?
That's good enough.
Erica Ishii from Geek and Sundry, Anna Geeks, and BadNewsBaron as they talk about their experiences on Twitch. Moderator, me, everybody else, secondary questions.
Am I gonna have to hit the thing every...
Coming out summer 2017. My head still hurts from the unicorn. With me are these people. Starting with the man on the end.
That's you.
Right. My name is Goobers515. I'm a variety caster. I yell and shake my crotch at the camera when people raid me, and that's about it. So don't watch me, for God's sakes. Don't bother. Hi.
I don't do any of that stuff. I mean, I variety cast, but I'm Anna Geeks. That's not where you'll find me on Twitch, but go to annageeks.com and that'll redirect because I have the worst name on twitch.tv. Does also redirect. I'm a variety caster. That's pretty much all I do. I don't do the hip thrusting, but I do have a coffee can.
What do you not do on Twitch?
What do I not do on Twitch? The hip thrusting and
Gotcha.
he was talking
It's my
about.
brand, man. We're not...
I know that question doesn't qualify for you, Goobers. In the middle here, sir.
Hi, I'm Matt Anderson, aka BadNewsBaron. I am a space caster, space games. Ask me why.
Why?
Because they're out of this world.
Stellar.
And he's gone.
Seriously, why?
That's it for me. No, that's all I got.
That's going to happen a
That's
lot.
like apparently I am here on the panel as a as failed variety since I have not branched out of that genre. But hey, we're all going to learn the sides of the story.
You have branched out some. Give yourself some credit.
Hi, I'm Erica Ishii. I have my own channel, which is Erica Ishii, and then I'm also a producer and host on Geek and Sundry's channel.
Yeah.
Yay!
Hello, everybody. I am Zach Eubank. I'm the CEO of HyperRPG, ex-showrunner of Geek and Sundry, and I told myself a long time ago that I would never, ever, ever be in a room with him, her, Goobers, and Claudia, and it has happened, and I am extremely, extremely terrified.
Everyone, please, on three says, good job, asshole. 1, 2, 3. Good job, asshole! All right, continue.
This is going to be great.
We all agreed, by the way, before we came up here, that this entire purpose of this panel is just to derail so we see him like this by the end of it.
Yeah. We're told there were questions. We're probably going to ignore them.
So here's the thing. With multiple categories or programs in streams, thank you for pushing the buttons. I would have done it, but my unicorn is on break. How do people establish a channel that identifies a consistent, that stays consistent across the board without losing its creative bounds?
Wait, what, you want to say that one more time?
That was real good.
With multiple categories and programs in stream, how do I establish a channel identity that stays consistent across the board?
So you're saying, like, as a variety streamer, how do you create consistency, is what you're asking?
I believe that's what
Is
you
that
wanted
what you're
me to ask,
asking?
yes.
Play the game.
Oh, okay.
Next!
I think what you're trying to get at is maybe branding, is keeping an identity across your channel.
We agreed that you would never brand me again.
Sure, let's go with that question.
Still scars.
You know, they say things that I tell them to say, so you're next, by the way. Anyway, all right. I'm gonna guess that he means branding. How do you contain, or not contain, but how do you develop a brand on your channel? Yeah.
I'm gonna reframe his question because I didn't like it, and I'm gonna say we should probably tell everybody what a variety caster is before we even get started.
See, now even Zach is going off the rails.
I'm going off the rails to get it more on the rails, so I accept this. So should we tell everybody what a variety caster is?
No.
Because they may not know.
No. It takes all the
Yes.
fun out of it. Does anybody not
should.
know what a variety caster is?
Other than Claudia.
All right, thank you,
Okay.
Claudia.
One of our hosts
And for
doesn't.
Claudia, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. All right, variety streamer, variety channel, variety things. We play literally whatever we want.
Okay.
You're welcome.
I mean, a lot of Twitch casters, they stick with a certain game or certain kinds of games, but we really just do everything.
Some
except for this
of
guy.
them will like do something that's like, I only play space games, and then we're like, oh, that's cool. But other people, cooler people, will do like anything that comes to mind and really
Anything you can
explore
dream.
Twitch.
I reach for the stars. I bring the buns, everybody.
I hope there's no music over this for the people watching the live stream, and everything just lands so flat.
I really hope there's a soundboard with crickets going on over there. That's beautiful.
Okay, so for someone like me who is an esports commentator for Griffball Hub, haha, shameless plug number one. What? Says the kid from Ultimate Halo, shameless plug number two. All right,
Oh
there we
my
go.
God.
What happens when you want to go from a focus stream to being a variety streamer?
Get ready.
Baron.
We have a focus streamer to a variety streamer.
Yeah.
So we're going to redefine a little bit on variety. So there is a variety streamer where you play whatever you want. And then there is a professional variety streamer on Twitch who does not get to play whatever they want because they are playing very, very calculated decisions. If you are a specific kind of game streamer, what it turns out is your audience probably likes the very specific kinds of games, which presents a challenge when you're trying to branch out because it turns out that they don't like those other kinds of games. Like if you go from like, I don't know, Counter-Strike to Hearthstone, that's a big leap for people. That's hard to digest. But if you go from like World of Warcraft to, I don't know,
Something
every
that doesn't
other
disappoint your parents?
riff-off thing.
Kids playing it.
Yeah, I don't know. What are the games these days? I don't know. Anyway, you make a smaller jump between different types of games. Your audience is going to transition easier. So it's between that and what's going to get hyped that month, and those are the decisions you make.
I mean, so, and just to kind of branch off your point about like how Joe, to branch up your point about how variety casters don't actually get to choose whatever and play whatever. That's very true. That is very true.
And real quick, it also includes creative. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes we do creative streams.
Right.
too. Like, it's not necessarily playing whatever game.
It's honestly, tying way back around, it matches, you need to figure out who you are and what you like to stream and what you like to play and what your audience likes to see you play the most. You know, for me, I am a hype caster. Yeah, I like to scream and yell a lot. My neighbors don't like me, but that's okay.
Neither do mine.
Whatever. Yeah. Anyway, but the thing is that like you know like you can't like for somebody like me, I can't play Civ 5 for 6 hours on my cast and just sit there and go next. I can't do that. My audience is out really quickly. And to be fair, I've established a cast that people respond to the hype, the crazy, the nuts. And if you divert from that without any sort of like, I don't know, any sort of like, you know, communication with them that this is going to be different, and I realize that, then you should expect that they'll, you know, respond by probably not showing up for as long. But you can adjust over time. It's just a
Even with that warning, yeah, you've got to
Yeah.
kind of ease into it. You can't go from, you know, Counter-Strike to Hearthstone or to Guild Wars or whatever,
Yeah.
like immediately. You've got to kind of like do a gradual, gentle sort of easing it.
But again, you're going to hear this a lot tonight. We're all going to give you slightly different answers, which I think is partly the point because there is no one way to do it. These guys have their very particular variety streams, and then for HyperRPG and Geek and Sundry, what we built over there, it's more like a network. So we will jump from Counter-Strike to Hearthstone, to something else, to an indie game, to a tabletop game, to social eating, to creative. We're all over the damn map, and in that sense, we have to run things a little bit more based on personality.
Yeah,
like you're watching for the personality and where those personalities might take you, and less for the game itself.
Yeah, the only consistency that we really have on our channel is the branding of having hosts on different kinds of channels. So again, like we have tabletop, we have esports, a little less of the esports though. I'm sorry, we're not actually good at them. But we have we talk about movies, we talk about games, and all of it is just the common thread is the hosts and the community.
Yeah, I think you're right. No, I think you're absolutely right. With the community aspect is that is the one thing that we all share in common with our casts, is that we may play and we may have different casts and they may be run totally different, but at the core of everything we have the community, and that is our primary concern, is the community that supports us, that drives us, and that we need to respond to. And so that, I would say, if there's something that is common between the craziness of what's up here right now, it's the support and the need to, the focus on community.
Okay, so if there is market saturation, though, amongst a variety of streamers for variety streaming, how do you stand out amongst the fray?
Ooh, good question. Do any of us have an answer to that?
No.
Don't play League of Legends. Wow.
To be honest with you, I think there's two different ways to differentiate yourself in the field. It's by being the best at it or being really entertaining at it. I'm entertaining. I'm not the best at anything, but yeah, for us, what we did, I mean, we started out on Geek and Sundry having the backing of the name Geek and Sundry. And when I went off on my own, it was finding a bunch of variety that worked and just keeping on pushing the limit of what we could do. We've done live Nerf wars throughout the house. We've done like streams where we walk around places and just I keep trying to push the envelope of what we can do. That's what helps for me.
Yeah, I mean, so you're saying that there's market saturation with variety casting, and I don't necessarily think that's the case.
I didn't write the question.
I know.
They're hypothetical, I think.
What I'm getting at is the fact that variety casting means that you can find. It means that people don't have a defined niche, and you are kind of like, I'm open to whatever, and that's where it leads back to branding, right? In just like knowing that I'm gonna go to Baron's channel for space stuff and color commentary, and puns. I'm gonna go to Hyper for sci-fi and role-playing games and some crazy guy who paints his face every Friday. And then I'll go to Geek and Sundry because they have all of their crazy stuff and Critical Role and everything like that. You'll come to my channel because it's hype and it's loud and obnoxious. The branding, I think,
You'll notice he doesn't come to my channel.
No, because we have different channels.
Moist.
You're a terrible person.
I know.
Okay. We'll talk later.
Anyway, branding is what sets you apart and what defines who you are and makes you stand out. If you have a branding that defines you and is something that you can just kind of like say in a sentence that nobody else has, that's means.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Do it.
I'm the yelling guy. I'm the
Do
guy
it.
who
Do your
yells.
thing. Do your thing.
Do it.
You just said in a sentence.
Yeah, I'm the guy who yells and breaks.
No.
everyone's-
Do your
Do
welcome.
it.
My what?
Your thing. You have your whole welcome.
Oh, my welcome. What,
Yes.
like people.
Jesus.
Everybody wants you to do it. The chat room too. So it's not just me being an asshole.
76 people got it and you didn't.
All right, I'll do like the follower welcome. When people follow me, that's what I focus on. Is like people joining in and having fun. So, yeah.
Everybody,
all right.
Pull
all right.
down your microphones. Oh, that's what that button does?
So, Ladies and gentlemen, so-and-so just followed. Please drop the goo in the chat. My friend, if you have not... Oh, God, I screwed up. Welcome into the goo where nothing happens right and we all have fun. No, what is it? Oh, that's right. I haven't done it in forever. If you're online, if you're offline, if you're in the goo, if you're out of the goo, if you're on the ground, in the ocean, in space, do me a favor and drop the goo all over the place. Come on in here, sit on down, get back up again, and shake your butt around. My friend, welcome to the goo, and just know that it welcomes you too. That is what I do every time.
Goobers!
515.
Coached by...
Yeah, first try.
So,
So.
there's a common perception that that as broadcasters, especially if we're broadcasting at the same time, that we're in competition with one another. And that is totally not the case. Like, Baron and I stream at pretty much the same times, but I don't consider him a competitor at all.
Oh.
We work together. Knew that was coming. We work together because, like...
I don't consider you competition either.
No.
Jesus.
Would you like the unicorn to throw at him?
That's it, you're cut off.
No,
There's
please.
no more,
Please.
no more help. No, because somebody that's going to fit in with my community perfectly and say that this is the cast for me, this is the community for me, and I love it here and I never want to go anywhere else, is not necessarily going to fit in Goobs. It's not going to fit in Barron's. It's not going to fit in anybody else's. But I've got people that are looking for Goobs' channel. I've got people that are looking for Baron's channel, and if we all acknowledge that and work together, then everybody, instead of having just viewers, we get fans and we get community members.
Right.
And that lifts everybody up. So that's what we do to stand out.
It's kind of
unique
weird how...
content and we work together.
It's kind of weird how, like, there's not too many businesses out there where it's, like, openly supporting other people who are in the same business as you helps you.
Yeah,
The more we help each other, helps
There's an
everyone.
old media way of thinking, like, you know, how channels like have to compete for viewership, but they're even if you do like both of their channels, you can watch them at the same time with programs like what is it, simul Twitch? Simulcast.
Or just
Multi-
opening
There's
up
lots
two
of
browsers.
Yeah, there's lots of
Multi-Twitch.
them so that you can just literally watch two channels at the same time, so it isn't a matter of competing with one another.
So let's say that there's a game. There's a game category on Twitch. In that game category, the streamers are ranked by their viewer count. The drop-off in incoming traffic from first slot to second slot can be as high as 90%. That's a huge amount of people who will never check out the other channels. It's easy to get caught up on that big number when you're thinking about networking with other people in your community, especially if you're going from second slot to third slot, where there's another drop-off again. It's going to keep dropping off. Do not focus on that. Please, that is the worst decision that you can make, is to focus on that and to get hung up on the numbers and to view everybody that is in your space as competition, especially if you're in a game with a tight-knit community, because these are the people who you're going to be working with. And the more that you help them and they sort of help you in return, the more you can grow your shared interests and your shared games, the more you can work together, and the more you can increase viewership across the board for the things that you are interested in. Teamwork is absolutely essential to getting started, especially in variety streaming.
Agreed, 100%. You said something really profound and intelligent. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I'm hiding compliments from the Zach.
It wasn't a pun, so I was on board with it.
Just because it's not a pun doesn't mean it's not
Zach
fun.
and his backhanded compliments.
Well, I was being a little bit flippant earlier when I said don't stream link. But the other part of this question is, how do you get started with growth as a variety streamer when there's tons and tons of people out there? And a lot of times from newer streamers, the other side of this question, sort of the subtext of this is, how can I be Co? How can I be Dan's Gaming? How can I be man versus game? You can't. You cannot be those people.
Don't think about that.
They are already those people. I like those guys. They are already those people. What you can do, though, is you can try to find maybe a smaller class of game that is not being streamed by 1 million people all at the same time, not a day one release, not like the biggest hype thing. Find something smaller that has a really tight and passionate group of people who are engaged with it. I started streaming a game that was in alpha. that had barely anything in it, but the people who were engaged with that product were super, super passionate about it. And as that game has grown, my audience has grown as well, and it turned out to be very well. I ended up becoming a full-time broadcaster when my average viewership was about 150, because the support from that community was so high. There's lots of methods that you can use to grow, and you don't have to chase down the big fish, unless you really want to. If you don't care about your growth, play whatever you want, man.
Yeah. That would be exciting.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, so
Freeing.
I wanted to just add something is, so he had mentioned, you'd mentioned that game selection, kind of on that path of keeping an eye on the game and like the community involved in that as well. I think there is another avenue as well, personally, that speaking from experience, that if it's not, you don't always have to have the game be the primary focus. Part of it is you're an interesting person. You need to define who you are. You need to play, and you need to understand what you bring to the table. And I think I heard it best, I think Zeke might have said this once. I don't know who I remember hearing it from. But the situation is that accentuate your idiosyncrasies. And that's a big word from a clown like me, or a big couple words. But the gist of it is, what makes you weird? It's a drink, by the way. What makes you weird? Play that up. Figure out who you are. Work that into what you do. I like to yell. That is who I am. And it is on my branding. It's part of my main emote is goo yell. So I mean, it's figure out who you are and then have the community and build the community based on that.
So that's the real difference between a true specialty caster and who only plays one game. Because you are, to a certain degree, a variety caster. You play a variety of space games. Done. You are a variety caster. You're somewhat specialized. But somebody who only plays League. I was having a conversation before I came here with somebody who only plays League, and he's had difficulties branching out into other games because he's found that the people aren't necessarily there for him and for the community. They're there for the game, and that's it. And his ability in that game plays into that. But with a variety caster, you're there for the talent. You're there for the entertainment value of the person on the screen, not the entertainment value of the game on the screen.
And for us, it's a little different because I feel like in some ways, because of our wide range of shows, it makes it a little bit more difficult to personally connect with every single person on camera. So we create an ideal, and you get attached to the ideal. You get attached to what we represent as a company, which is, we in some ways, what I did at Geek and Sundry and what we're now doing at HyperRPG is almost specialized streaming, and it is variety streaming, but it is so different than anything else you're going to see on Twitch that it's kind of like, oh, what do we do? Nobody else is really doing this, so you have to kind of look at it from the outside and really question, like, okay, how do you make that work? And we knew that with Twitch, the number one thing to keep people around is to connect with them, to especially if you're not really good at a game. If you're not a pro player, you're going to keep people sticking around by connecting with them in some way, shape, or form. And we knew we couldn't do that if we have a different host rotating out every 2 hours, or a show where there's 6 hosts on it and you only get to see them once a week while they play a role-playing game. So there's many different techniques and tactics that we employ to try to represent an ideal and an overall representation of an idea that connects with people in a very kind of personal way, such as like our very strict rules on how our community is going to work. So they'll become attached to that and want to stick around to be a part of that community, whereas it's a little bit harder. Like, and that's why we push people. It's like I've worked with 3 out of the 4 people here, and you push them. It's like, if you want to get to know Goobers more as a host, go watch Goober's stream and get to know that guy. He's great, and then come back when he's on our channel. But that's hard for us too, because it's like we're always telling people, like, go watch everyone else's stuff. And at the same time, so we have to kind of be the landing base that represents the overall idea that all these other amazing people encapsulate.
I think that brings us to our next topic, which is
great.
Twitch as a business.
Ta-da! Okay. So, and kind of to fall into that, so then once a viewer falls in love with, say, a program, how do you get them to, how do you encourage them to embrace the other things on your channel? How do you keep them in the channel and invested in the other programs that are going on that maybe they weren't there for, but that they really should watch? Ish.
That's, I mean, the language is mostly for you, Zach.
I know. That's why I was kind of like, do I really want to run with
across
this? Because it's I could go on for an hour just about this in itself, because that's all I do as a day job is worry about this stuff. But everybody else, I think, has their own input on it, because everyone here is a pro streamer. They're a partnered broadcaster, and
For varying degrees of
I mean,
professional.
pro as in we do it full time, I guess, not as in pro as the opposite of being an amateur.
well, to me, you guys are all pro streamers. I mean, every one of you. You take it seriously. It's your business. You think about it as a business, and you think about how do you grow, how do you retain, how do you bring new people in, how do you welcome them. Those are all things that kind of revolve around a business ideal of, okay, we're thinking about our numbers. We're thinking what's a good place to stay, what's a good number, what's a bad number. If my numbers are low, what am I doing different this week? Assessing what you did and how you can correct it. That's a professional kind of mindset. What was the question?
The question was, once viewers fall in love with one program or thing, how do I encourage them to embrace others?
yeah.
How much do I need fans to buy into the channel as a whole, as opposed to isolated parts of the schedule?
Again, it's the people. Like if you're on your own, then it's just gonna be like, if I'm playing a different game, who cares if you're playing that game?
It's even though they're there for the personality, they still all have games that they like and games that they dislike. And so the only way to get them to stay around for the games that they dislike is by continuing to be as entertaining as you can be. And most importantly, play stuff that you enjoy. Because if you don't, it's going to show.
Yeah,
and they're not going to buy it.
huge.
No matter, I have some games that people love watching me play and would never touch themselves, just because the way I play it, they enjoy, but the way they would play it, they don't. So just enjoy what you're doing, and if you're not, stop and do something else.
Yeah. I think another aspect, that can carry over from, you're talking about different programs, I think that can translate over to not, Hyper and Geek and Sundry in the sense of events for our channels. Right now, I just moved into a streamer house with my buddy, and things are going great. But we opened an Amazon wish list, and my community went, thank you, Lady K, went batshit crazy and bought 83 items. UPS hates us now. Yeah. So, but what I'm getting at is that as amazing as it is also something that's an event, because it's something that is like so substantial that you're like, all right, let's make this a thing. Let's work with it and talk it up. And so we've been having what we're calling the unboxing streams, where we go and we raffle off the option to choose what box to open next on stream. And when you have an event or anything, and you're talking about it while you are doing something else, again, that's how you transition people over. Always give them something to be looking forward to. That's a really good thing to keep in mind.
Goals are huge. Every day, have a goal, something you and the community can work towards together, and they get really hyped about that, just because it gives you. What are you laughing at? Some of the stupid stuff we've done?
Yeah, and then I did something this past week where I challenged the community, and they called my bluff. I said that, I was like, oh, fine, I will watch this VR horror trailer in VR if we hit $500 by the end of the week, thinking they would never do it, but they did.
Why did you do that?
Yeah, why would you ever?
Because I didn't think they'd do it.
You know better.
I should have known better.
All of the people watching the stream are like, never
There are
challenge us.
individuals in our collective community that will do that.
It's true. It's true. It's because they know that I react so viscerally for horror, and they did it. But yeah, as far as pulling viewers from one particular program that they love onto others, I think just having consistency across the brand and across the board will help with that, and also making sure to always shout out during the really popular stream about the other streams, doing everything you can to cross the streams.
Never cross the streams.
Bam!
I tried to variety stream once.
Okay, so
Can I hire you as a
no,
soundboard artist, please?
I'll finish. I'll
Can you
finish
just
that.
live in my room
So-
and I'll just like point at you when I need a sound effect? That'd be wonderful. Thank
That's
you.
amazing.
All right.
However, there is a moral to the story. Content droughts are a thing on Twitch. They happen especially every summer for variety casters. When you add a genre into the mix, that can get really, really ugly, especially when your main games are all early access and decide to wait for 3 months before updating. That's a thing that happens. So I tried to spread out and spread my wings into other variety games, and I couldn't figure it out because my viewers weren't engaging with it. I had a lot less people watching than I normally do. And I talked to Bike Man about this, and I said, Bike Man, how do you find your games to stream next? Because it seems like you always, your chat loves whatever you do, because he's Bike Man. And he said, Baron, it's secrets. It's all secrets.
Really?
No, he didn't. So what he said is stop worrying about it. The amount, if you were like doing good on Twitch, you got like an okay number, you're happy with this. A lot of that is going to be tied to your game no matter what you do. Your amount of true viewership, your hardcore fans, is a lot lower than what your normal viewership is. A lot lower. In marketing, we got something called conversion rates. So you can expect that a certain amount of people, if like say 100 people follow your stream, you can maybe predict that, say 5 of these people will stick around for anything that you do because they're really there for you. They like you. The rest will come and go. There's some who are just there for that game, but it's all less predictable. So the amount at which that number grows is a lot smaller than your follower count. Don't worry about your follower count. That small number will grow over time. It's kind of your nest egg in the streaming. It takes a long time to build up. For people to break into the high-level variety casting, normally that number of people who will follow you from game to game needs to be probably in about the 400 range, which ends up being pretty high. It can take a few years to actually work up to that point unless you manage to hit a home run with something. At that point, you can start rolling into games and make it something that you can own.
It's getting harder and harder to get to that point.
It is, but it's not something that should discourage you at all. And on the subject of follower count and conversion things and all that point, there's also, the amount of people who follow, who will watch at any given point. That's a cool number to watch. If you look at any streamer who is, say top pro whatever, the bigger the viewership, the better, because you've got a bigger sample rate to draw from. They will have maybe 2 to 3% of their total following count who is actively watching from day to day on average. This is almost across the board. This is awesome. If you focus on really engaging with your community and trying, instead of to get lots of followers, to just maybe bump that up from like 3% to 4%, you can do really cool things, seriously.
And just wanted to quickly say, we're also talking about, I always try to tell people, if you're early on in streaming, I mean, like, you're talking first 6 months of streaming, and you're going for variety casting, everyone, if I ever get asked this, I'm always just like, have fun. Don't, just have fun, and don't, thank you. No, stop, please. No, in all honesty, the reason why you should be having fun in those early months is because you need to know why Twitch is great for you. You need to know why streaming is good and what makes you happy about it. Like, what exactly is it? The community aspect? Is it the fact that you like the hype moments of certain games, or like you like getting to talk to devs every once in a while? These are all things that you should be figuring out in your first 6 months or so, and take your time. You should be figuring out what you like, who you are, and then at that point, how you want to go from there. So early on, aside from you, because I'm sure that I'm getting eyes in the back of my head from first 6 months, because new studio. But if you're just an individual, I mean. So, yeah, have fun.
You have another question?
Can I have my water?
Oh, you want some water? Oh, here, let me help you out.
Would you like to feed it to me like a bird?
Next question, please.
Wow.
So do you, thanks, appreciate it.
Okay.
Much better. Okay. So do you feel that there are categories or features that might be missing from Twitch that would help spotlight diverse programming topics or content?
Yes, I do. I have thoughts. Okay, so I have all sorts of like physical activities that I do on my stream. Things like Nerf wars or pillow fights or you know, jousting. And they don't have any sort of category for that. I think they, at one point they had LARPing.
Is performance art out yet?
I don't think
performance
so.
art a thing?
I don't think so. And
might
if
be-
it is, that I don't think that there's much of a listing for it.
Well, I mean, with any new category, if it's not pushed, I guess the problem there is going to be that how do you if you don't know to search for Nerf streaming?
Yeah, exactly.
How
Like, so
how are you going to search for
for
it?
creativity, they launched it with the Bob Ross Marathon, and that that was huge. And then for cooking, they did the Julia Childs Marathon, I think it was, and so people knew about that. I want them to do like a physical activity category and launch it with something big,
Like Pokemon Go.
like Pokemon Go, maybe.
Yeah, that was pretty big on there.
Yeah.
House Olympics.
Well, I mean, I think there's it's a tough one because a lot of what we do that's really weird like that, there might be people that want to watch it, but I can also understand that it's like, man, who's really searching for, who's like going to Twitch and like, you know what, today I really want to watch somebody shoot each other with Nerf guns in their house.
Come on,
You might want to see it,
in the
but
hands,
as far as who's
like
actually
show me
searching
your
for
hands.
it, so I understand.
Who
that's
would
like-
be curious? Like, be like, I want to see some people shoot each other with Nerf guns. It's a thing. There's enough people.
to
We can
be
extrapolate
fair,
data from that.
To be fair, we're already planning on building a giant box fort on the stream with all of the giant boxes that
Yeah,
we're
I mean,
getting.
this is
So,
coming-
I mean,
I'm
it's
playing
like
devil's advocate
it's
here.
there, right? It's just
Yeah.
I think as far as the categories that don't exist, if you can wrap them into something else, but market them or talk about them on your other streams, that's going to be how you're going to want to do it. If you want to do something that's not listed, has no category, like find the closest thing that it's got, make sure you're not breaking any of the TOS, and work at it to market beforehand and talk about it beforehand so that people know when you do it and when it's like happening that, you know, it'll be there.
I mean, it's a
Important
whole nother
thing.
conversation too, because there's so much. If we really got into the, like Twitch as a business, and it's like if you're really looking at the like, okay, what category do you pick? Okay, so if there is no RPG section on Twitch, then we do a bunch of RPGs and we put them under Dungeons and Dragons because more people watch Dungeons and Dragons. But does that mean that you're going to get the right viewer? Because people coming in Dungeons and what are you doing streaming BattleTech and Dungeons and Dragons? Well, there's no category for it, and
Yeah.
there's. But you have to still look at the return rate. Whereas if you put it into BattleTech, which is a game from the 80s, like nobody's gonna find it or look for it. So there's so many different routes that you could take and different things that you could do, but you don't want to just flat out try to like break the system either. It's a tough answer. It's
I
multi-layered.
think that they could have more variety sort of categories. I think they could stand like a party category would be great, and that would be a great catch-all for like physical activities, LARPing, you know, even the social eating stuff. I mean, there's social eating now. That's a pretty specific extra thing to have. I think they could stand with to do a party category.
Yeah.
So I do want to say really quick on the note of finding the best category for you, be mindful of the fact that there are different rules of conduct for creative versus gaming versus creative eating. Creative eating. I mean,
Is there a
Creative
category for creative drinking?
What's that?
Creative drinking.
Creative drinking.
Let's.
So, like, if you were to do like bartending, like how to mix drinks or something, that could be under either creativity or maybe even social eating.
No, like if I were to make a blackberry
Cooking.
watermelon margarita and I were to put it inside of the actual unicorn
I feel
and
like
then drink
everything
it.
you guys are bringing up, there's already a lot of people on Twitch doing
creative.
it, but we
Yeah.
don't know, and I guess that's the issue, is they're
Yeah.
doing it and we just don't even know they're doing it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, smarter people than us have to figure out how to answer that question,
Yeah.
because that's,
I mean, I
Well,
think
people
it's,
at
if you look at
Twitch
the
have to answer
tendency recently of the categories added, I mean, they're increasing them, right?
Yeah.
They are doing it, and I think absolutely to Erica's point, like yes, there could be more categories. Yes, there could be more of a variety of things that we could do. And I think it's going in the direction of that. But in the meantime, since there's not, and you want to do something different, you know, again, like Anna was saying, make sure you know what you're getting into, figure out the closest thing that you can identify with, and go with it.
Yeah. Actually read the terms of service and rules of conduct. I know it's painful, but it's not that long. Actually read that stuff. If you are going to be broadcasting, read that stuff before you broadcast.
I've never read the Twitch terms of
You
service.
probably
What?
I would not do a lot of the things that I do if I had, I'm sure.
I was forced to read it in a group. We each had to take each had to take a paragraph. It was ridiculous. But it was educational, sort of.
To
I
Anna's
fell
point,
asleep.
read the TOS. Don't
Yes.
be like us, kids. Don't be
Yes.
like us.
And the rules of conduct.
And the rules
because
of
they're
conduct,
separate.
right, different, yeah.
Definitely have not read those.
So, at what point is it the right time to reach out to potential sponsors or partners, and how would one go about doing that?
Wait, sponsors and partners? Because we're talking.
You know, I try and move this in as a conversational question until you ask me to actually read what's written here. So let me go over this once more time. When it's time to reach out to potential sponsors / partners, because you can't really work / into a conversation, and how?
All right, well, sponsors and partners are two different things.
Yep.
Right.
Sponsors, yeah, I'm gonna let you guys take that because
Yeah, pretty much nobody
Does
up here but
anybody
Zach.
have any?
Zach,
Yes.
Zach is the only one that
Yeah,
can speak
yeah.
to it.
All
I'll
right,
let
then you
Zach
guys-
take the sponsors. I was just gonna say
That's
with.
true. That's
You
true.
probably have.
Oh, yeah.
You probably,
Yeah,
I was
sure.
gonna say
Yeah.
your whole group has some, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad News Gaming. A Steel Series sponsor and Discord sponsor. So there's different levels. There's the point where you go to them and they say, why are you here? There's the streamer level where they come to you, and then there's the streamer level where their people talk to your people and they work something out. And I don't know what that level looks like, but I'm sure it's very, very nice. Yeah, so if you're a small caster, if you're not a partner, looking for sponsors is going to be hard. But that big indie mega booth out there, go talk to those devs, get you some keys, and go stream their games because they want to work with you right now. You are never too small of a streamer to go hit up some, even the bigger booths, and just try your luck, hit some community managers, and say, hey, I really want to help you guys do something cool here. They will work with you.
Every single booth and indie guy that's out there, go talk to them now. Go talk to them now, because absolutely, the worst case scenario, they say no.
Yeah.
Go to the next one.
I mean,
Like-
honestly, it works from bottom to top, whatever. Any stage of sponsorship packages that I'm looking for, I try to stick to the ignorance is bliss thing, because if I start thinking about it, I'm going to be like, man, they're not going to pay attention to us. But just ask. Just ask. It doesn't matter what it is. Just ask. The worst they can do is say no or not return your email. But I'd say face-to-face is the way to go. In any situation, if you are just emailing people, you're probably not going to have much come out of that unless you are at the very, very top of your game, and which is not going to be the people listening to us talk in the first place. So go like face-to-face. And that's the only way that works. Even for me as the representative of a company, nothing happens unless I go to something like PAX, go to a con, go talk to people, walk up to their booth and say, here's my card, let's talk, let's have a conversation. This is what we represent. We think we have similar goals in mind, let's work together. And that is 9 times out of 10 the only way it's going to happen.
Are you there, NVIDIA? It's me, Baron.
Unless it's NVIDIA, then they're not, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So which brings us to our next section called the personal and the professional. So how best do I balance streaming with real life? Consistent schedule programming versus random stream
Is this
times
the real
and
life?
Is this
Yeah,
just
no,
fantasy?
we're all like, what personal life? What personal life?
I can't sing, you know. Sing.
What? Yeah, like, I don't know. If you want to be healthy and live a long, healthy life, don't ask any of us at this panel for advice.
Not at all.
Yeah, no, there is no one up here that I say has a good work life
All right,
balance.
so let's just
You?
like,
Oh, well, congratulations. Good for you, dude.
yeah, great, good job.
You did
Good
well.
for you.
Good
For
job,
you, we
bud.
all wish we
he
could
is
be you.
asking for advice from kangaroos. They are extraordinarily educated.
So, okay, so yes, we all are workaholics, but here's the thing. Twitch is honestly, streaming in our sense, like it's a lifestyle job. I mean, We live our jobs. I'm on Twitter all the time talking to people. I'm hanging out with people. I'm doing. But you got to keep in mind is that our job is hanging out with people and talking to people, and we understand what that is, and we understand that it's fun as hell. It's great, but it is our life, and so we do it 24/7. So sometimes we don't quite think about our health, and things get overlooked because we live it, and we kind of lose ourselves in it. And for people who have the option and have the ability to balance that, highly recommend it. Good luck.
It's kind of like gambling, isn't it? Because it's that idea that, like, if I just stream for one more hour, I might get hosted by one of my friends, or I might get rated, or I might get that random like group of follower train that starts, and I might get that new sub if I just go one more hour and just do that one more, and that mindset just keeps going and going and going.
It's not even really the actively being on camera and streaming part that it gets to you. It's mostly the fact that you're community building all the time. Like even if you're out at a party, you're like, oh, I should share this with everybody so they know what I'm up to, and they can hang out with me here too. So it becomes like around the clock deal. I mean, there's never a time where I'm like completely on my own, I feel like. And to me, like, I chose that life and I embrace it and I love it. It's not for everybody. So you have to ask yourself, if you're gonna get into this, like, am I comfortable with people seeing everything that I do almost every hour of the day?
Yeah, and one quick thing, keep in mind, and we all do this. This is the one element of keeping the balance between professional and personal, whatever, is that if you are tired and sick and you're exhausted and all that stuff, but you're still pushing yourself, your community will notice, the quality of your content will go down, and overall you will suffer because it's just, it shows. I moved out here a year ago, and my allergies out here have been pretty bad. And for a while, I just kind of like let that stuff go and was just like, I don't have time to deal with it. Well, I started getting sick a lot, and my stream times would drop down, and people would notice, and I would have less energy. And because of that, my channel suffered a little bit. So there is a bit of take care of yourself, but from our perspective, it's take care of yourself so that your job isn't, the streaming doesn't suffer.
I get migraines a lot, and when I get a migraine, I still have to stream. Like, I get them enough that I can't stop my life because I have a migraine, and so
I'm saying, like, there's times to push.
You get used to it.
Yeah, there's times to push. There are times to breathe.
You learn to toughen up.
Yeah, now that I think about it, the only time that I do say I gotta stop streaming is with my voice, where I gotta keep my voice strong.
Yeah, there are certain boundaries, but you learn to find where that is for yourself.
Yeah,
stay
healthy.
Kind of your point.
Yeah, right. Figure your boundaries out.
Where your boundaries are for yourself.
Still looking.
They're different for everybody.
Still looking for mine.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than an happy
you
streamer.
left your boundaries way behind.
Pretty
Zach.
sure.
The second I put on that black bodysuit, all boundaries were gone.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of boundaries, I was wondering if we could possibly break our own boundaries and get into the boundaries of the people who are here, which means all of you fine people. So, if you want to be as loud as we are, there are microphones located there and there. It's time for the Q&A.
And that being
stands
said,
for
I'm very curious
question and answer.
what Baron was hoping to say on that. Cause
Go ahead, Baron, while they're lining up.
Well, why'd they line up?
I was pretty much done with that. I will add, though, that there's sort of this misconception that, streamers hop on, they play some games for a few hours, they hop off and say, goodbye, everybody. And then I say,
I wish.
Yeah.
You sweet summer child.
There is so much work that goes on behind the scenes when we're not on camera. That
You guys double your time off air?
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the
Oh,
biggest.
yeah.
That's the biggest problem for us as a streaming company is people don't realize they see the work we do on camera and they know it's a lot. And what sucks is when we're live, we're not working on all the emails that have to be answered, the insurance forms that need to be filled out, all the other stuff that has to be done. Like as a full-fledged company, there's so much paperwork that has to be done and all this back-end kind of things. But then the second it becomes time to go live, all that drops. It's all done. And then we'll stay live for 12 straight hours. And then it's like, it's been 12 hours. I need to go offline and answer all the emails and sign all the paperwork and do all these things.
And then there's also the producing the pre pre-production for all of the shows.
Pre-production?
too.
Oh, shit, what's that?
Oh my! Let me tell you, pre-production entails like booking guests. It entails like coming up with the prizes, talking to the game companies that you want.
Writing
to,
copy
yeah.
so you don't say something stupid.
Yeah, sometimes like we got a teleprompter now, so now like instead of memorizing all of the dialogue that I have, I get to read it, but I have to write it beforehand though.
Yeah, it's there's a lot that goes into it.
So,
You don't get a teleprompter. I am not giving you a teleprompter. Moving on.
question. Starting with you, sir.
All right, so I've had the pleasure of, having my name dropped in Goober's chat. I've had him host me before, right, and I've built that relationship with him. I am a variety caster, right? I have business cards. I pass them out to all the devs out here. I have a lot of things that are going for me when I get home. However, how do you handle the other streamers in your community when you want to build that relationship to expand on your community when you have those streamers who are focused on no one but themselves and everyone else's competition?
I wouldn't bother with those people.
I don't
Yeah.
know anybody
Yeah.
like that
Leave
personally.
them behind.
Oh.
Yeah, those are those are people that like you just don't. That they're not going to be beneficial to anybody, and if they're just too consumed in themselves and they're not willing to be team players, like we talked about earlier, right? Helping each other helps each other.
Find other people with that mentality and work together.
Yep.
Because
Work around it.
Yeah.
Do we need to, for the people in the chat room, I'm just gonna, because I've got the chat pulled up here, can you guys in the chat hear the questions? Because if not, I'll repeat them.
His voice was also silky smooth. I just want to say that, so it might have just melted through.
Question and answer time.
Next question.
Okay. So, my question is, I've been doing this for streaming for about 9 months at this point. I'm going for the variety streaming thing. Still pretty small. The thing is, I'm trying to develop the personality. And I think I have a pretty good start, but the problem is I don't get many ways to get feedback. I'm my own absolute worst critic. So the question is, I'm not going to not be myself, but there's always little ways to twist and things you can improve, certain ways of joking, that kind of thing. What do you guys do in order to get feedback for yourself? Do you depend on other people? Do you look at statistics? That kind of thing?
Everything.
My moderators are like my finger on the pulse of my community. Generally, I'll go to them and I'll say, do you think this worked? Do you think that this thing that I tried didn't really go over well? And then you look at your numbers. Like if your numbers were high, you look at, for a particular day, you look at what you did during that day, whether it was the game you were playing or the mood that you were in or, how you interact with a game. Like some days I have days where I'll play a game and I'll be super serious trying to figure out how the game works and stuff like that. And then other days I'll be in Ark and I'll be chasing dodos, crouched down, talking to them. And those are usually the streams that work for me. So I try and play that up sometimes and try and find that mood more often.
I honestly, dude, use everything. Every single tool that's available, I use it. Sometimes I tell them I'm using it. Sometimes I don't. Some people, I know that rebroadcasts are kind of a hot buck ticket item for a lot of people, though some people disagree with them heavily. I agree with them mainly for the fact that a lot of people are more honest when I'm not on screen. And during a rebroadcast, I can hop in the chat at 3 a.m., watch what people are saying, get more valuable feedback, hear more. Because the plus and minus of creating really awesome communities is sometimes people are so nice. I'm like you. I'm like my own worst critic, and I'm always going to be harder on myself than the community. Is they'll just be like, oh, man, that was great. And I'm like, oh, but I know something was off. My numbers were about, my retention rate was lower. The numbers were dropped. And whatever tools are available, use them. Discord, Twitter, whatever. But when you open that door, also be ready for the hit it's going to take on you. Because some people will then, when you ask for it, will be like, oh, you asked for it. Well, here you go. I don't like this about you, and I don't like this about you, and I don't like this about you. And being able to siphon through what really is and what isn't is also a big part of the job, and knowing what to listen to and what to ignore.
Also, mods. The mods will let you know because they are in contact with everybody, and a lot of times your viewers will go through them and they'll be able to say, well, this worked, or I noticed people were saying this at a certain point that you don't always catch, and they are invaluable.
One final quick thing. find another caster that you are good friends with and that you understand and know that doesn't lose or gain anything from telling you, wow, that show sucked, dude. Don't do that again. Like, that's valuable.
Yeah.
That's Firecrow.
Yeah.
He's mine. Okay?
Yeah,
If you could do it,
find
that'd
a
be awesome.
mentor.
Either find a mentor, or the other aspect is find somebody who you can just be real with and just be like, dude, I don't know what happened today, but like, what did you see? And they're gonna be like, well, you did this thing, and that is obviously nobody likes that, so don't do that. You know, that helps.
There are tools like Muxy that you can use to track your viewership by hour, very, very down to the grain. Use that in conjunction with watching your past broadcasts and even checking out chat activities, since we have that on replays now on VODs, and try to find out where your peaks are. Then figure out what you're doing. You're never going to make yourself into something you're not. You're not going to be able to create an entirely new personality for yourself. You can only try to bring out the id. So try to figure out what works for your broadcast with your audience and pick at that moment and try to make as many of those moments as possible.
And just to add personally, because I'm also a terrible critic of myself, listen to the answers that are being given to you when you ask for critiques from the people. You'll know the answers that are worth listening to because they're going to come with an actual constructive resolution to the problem. If there's something, they're going to say, hey, listen, this didn't work, and here's why. Yep. Here's a suggestion on a different way to approach that scenario. That person, that's a person you should listen to. Somebody who says, oh my God, you suck, no explanation, that's not helpful nor valid.
Constructive criticism.
And you'll eventually find that person who's a good conscience. So that would be my personal recommendation.
I absolutely crave that kind of thing. Sometimes I go around asking people, like, how am I doing? And people think I'm doing it because I'm being, like, just, I need something to build my up. No, I'm actually asking people, how did I do?
Yes.
If I sucked, tell me I sucked, and then, say, maybe you can do this better. That kind of thing.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Speaking of consciences, Kenny from Ultimate Halo, who is actually my conscience and the person who gives me those kind of answers with absolutely no filter.
Hi, my name's Kenny. I'm actually not a Twitch streamer. I'm a YouTuber. But I feel like a lot of
Get out of here.
Fired.
I feel like a lot of the advice that was given in this panel still really kind of translates very well over to YouTube about the whole numbers thing and your subscribers and followers and the kind of content that you do. I am a Halo YouTuber. I play Halo on Xbox One. And I am so deeply stuck into that. I mean, it's in my channel branding. Our channel's called Ultimate Halo.
Well, your branding screwed you there, bud.
There you go. And so I was just wondering, like, what kind of, like, I come from the Halo community, which is really tight-knit. Like, DJ and I were just at 343 Industries, which is the developer of Halo, and everyone there knows everybody, and they are the people that would follow us from game to game, those friends that we know personally. But I guess, what would your advice be if I'm, like, really deep down, like, stuck into this one niche of Halo as far as getting out of that? Because I do want to get into other things.
Your nuclear option is just starting a new channel.
Well,
but that's the nuclear option.
Start
it's the
second
easiest, though.
channel. That's,
Delete your
in your
account.
case, that's what I would say.
Yeah,
is
don't
start
delete
a
your
second
original.
channel.
God, no, yeah.
If you don't want to leave the community you're currently in, like, there's nothing says you can't have both other than the amount of work and sanity you're willing to sacrifice.
You're a synth, dude.
I'm gonna be on your side. What is Halo?
Say that's a
It's a sci-fi shooter.
Yeah.
If you play another sci-fi shooter, are there enough common threads there that you're just going to say, oh, okay, I kind of like this, I'm into this.
Yeah.
Or can you go to a shooter with regular gameplay, similar to that? Or just try to find those threads and work with them and see if that works. For streamers, this is going to be kind of interesting soon because I talked a little bit about Muxy before. They're coming out with some analytics that are going to let you see what your viewers are actually watching. And that's really cool because then you can see what everybody is looking at across the board and say, okay, so my viewers like to watch this game, they like to watch this game, they like to watch this game. Here's where I'm going to spread out. That's useful.
So,
Twitch needs those analytics built in. That's my biggest gripe with Twitch right now. I'm beefing with them over this.
Yeah. And Muxy's analytics right now are really good, and you should be using them. Muxy.io.
Now that is, again, to say that is alpha, that is a feature that is coming and it's in limited use right now. So.
Yeah, and GameSide just came out too, which has a similar feature where you can look at what other streamers are streaming and how their audiences cross over with yours and retention rate with theirs.
I really just really quickly want to say these points about analytics are really good. They are totally factual. I want to make sure that a lot of you guys are aware, though, that what Zach said earlier about being ready for the response and being ready for the answer. A lot of people don't look at analytics because it's about figuring out who you are and understanding the performance of what you're doing and figuring out how to just be more real to yourself. And if you can do that, then that brings in better numbers and whatever. You're good. But it's less about the numbers. So you need to make sure that you are okay with looking at the analytics. I personally, I'll look at my viewer number when I'm live, and I don't touch my numbers after that. I do not. Because if you're not ready for it, and it's a situation where it's like, holy shit, my viewer count has dropped so much.
So
and you just sink backwards, and it's not a good situation. You want to make sure you're ready.
Here's the thing, though. You need to pay attention to the numbers. You really, really should be paying attention to numbers. If you want to do this in any way, shape, or form professionally, you need to be paying attention to the numbers. But don't let them get inside your head.
Yeah,
there's
a balance.
Yeah, exactly. There is a balance. That's absolutely true. So, yeah.
Or do what I do and just go to bed staring at the ceiling and not feel really, just stare.
All around me are familiar
Just let little parts of yourself like slip out into nothingness. And I don't watch the analytics. I definitely don't.
I don't either.
So I am being told that there is a person in the back of the room named Time. Time, do you have a
Time.
Everyone say hi, Time.
What is time?
Does Time have a question?
Time, you're right.
Time might be up.
Or does that mean we're actually out of time?
For everybody that's like standing here wanting to ask us questions, ask us right after the panel. We'll answer them. Like, none of us are the type of people to be like, nah, fuck you, your time's out. Like, we'll answer any questions you guys have. And for the people in the chat room that were asking questions, all of us are on Twitter. I'm at Aren't We Clever or _RPG.
I'm at Samurai Erica, SAMURAIERIKA.
Twitch.tv/BadNewsBaron, on Twitter at the BadNewsBaron.
I'm Anna Geeks on Twitter, and AnnaGeeks.com will redirect you to my site.
Goobers515 on Twitch and Twitter.
DJ Blue PDX on both.
Thank you, everybody.
And get your free lookout poster!